this relationship is worth defending. It's really helpful that she is so much older because she has more experience with being like, when I came out, I had this like righteous rising, like, I want to be like, fuck everybody who's, like being mean to the gays and the lesbians. And I'm like, I don't care. They can say whatever they want to say to me. Like, like, I just had this like rage. And she's sitting there like so calmly and she's like, oh, sweetie, welcome. Welcome.
Sophics and allies, you're listening to Queer Women Rising. That's women with an X because we are inclusive here. When we hear the stories of queer women who have gone before us, we see evidence that there's nothing we can't do. And yes, we can too. It's time for you to level up in life, in love, and step into your most authentic, abundant reality. You won't be the same after this episode. It's your turn to let go of good for greatness. Your best life is now loading. Let's rise.
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 My lesbian age gap girlies, you're going to love this episode of Queer Women Rising. What happens when you realize your true self later in life? Now, for me, I didn't realize I was lesbian until like nearly 30. And the same for my guests. And what would happen if your love story took a crazy, unexpected turn? Like, people had to already accept that you're gay. You are not straight. You are not who people thought you were, even though you've been it the whole time, because you are who you are. But beyond that, people have to also accept that you're in this huge age gap relationship. What if you go around and you're like, but guys, it works. And people may or may not get it. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Or are you thinking about getting into an age gap relationship because you're into older women? This is something you're going to want to think about. Today's guest, Emilee, grew up in North Central Minnesota with hearty meals and even heartier religious values. After graduating from Minnesota State University, Mankato in 2015, she set off on a solo journey around the world. And honestly, travel is a thing that really opens yourself up to yourself. It's like by seeing how other people are doing things so differently than you, and you get out of your daily routines, you're able to really figure out who you are. And she visited places like Peru, South Africa, Greece, France, Tanzania. And while she was exploring new cultures, her relationships back home were failing. Emilee knew that it was time to come out and start living her truth at 30 years old. And now she's in a loving relationship with someone nearly twice her age, and they couldn't be happier. We're about to dive into Emilee's journey of coming out late in life, the challenges of navigating a conservative family, totally feel you here, and the dynamics of being in an age gap relationship. My partner is 17 years older, and Emilee's partner is nearly double her age, so I would assume close to 60. So much to unpack here, so much we're going to get into, and we're also going to share about how creativity and writing have really played a part in helping her with her mental health, which is something I think we all need more awareness around as queer people, especially through challenging times. So, with that being said, welcome to the show, Emilee. I'm so excited. Much fun talking age gap, all the things. Hey everyone, if you're tuning in live on Instagram, welcome. You can ask us questions along the way. And if you're listening to the podcast on Apple or Spotify, I usually post the podcast episodes like a month to 3 months apart from the live show. If you're watching or listening live on the podcast, not live, I'm tongue twisted. If you're listening on the podcast later, know you can join us live, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time every Wednesday. Oh my gosh, Emilee's here. What's up? Hi, how are you today?
I am doing pretty good, besides the technical difficulties getting online. I'm not sure what happened. I tried to do it inside, but I'm outside now, so We are live in Florida.
I love it. What part of Florida do you live?
I live in the Panhandle, Northwest Florida.
Okay, okay. Amazing. Well, I'm so excited to just dig in, like, as if we're just two age gap girlies having a cup of coffee or a martini, because this is just it. First of all, being a lesbian, it's like so niche, especially like feminine lesbians, right? But then you
Yes.
throw in like, yeah, I'm into older women, and I think we all are. But I will say, like, we're the lucky ones. We've landed these
Yes.
gorgeous older women.
Yes. And I didn't know that. It took me, the hardest part was accepting that this works the best for me
Yeah,
and being okay with allowing myself to be happy because I'm like, everyone else, and like you talked about in my intro with my family and stuff like that is very like, how does this work? This doesn't make sense. Like, Emilee's gone through a lot of trauma. Maybe this is a trauma response. And yes, my fiance, we got engaged last October.
congratulations.
Thank you. I will be 32 in February, and she is 57.
Wow. Okay, well, that's the exact age gap of my ex girlfriend. So yeah, I love it. I know it can work. Okay, but like,
Yeah.
what are the things you hear most from people?
Oh, what do I hear most from people like regarding this is
Right.
also my first same-sex relationship. So,
Yeah.
um, because I came out later in life. But what do people don't really ask questions. They're kind of just like, okay. Like I
Okay.
don't think people know what to ask.
Yeah.
They're like uncomfortable or they're just like, hey, good for you. Like I think it has a lot to do with how comfortable that person is with
Yeah.
themselves. And if they're typically pretty comfortable with themselves, they'll be like, tell me more about that. And how did you get to know this person? And how did you know you were a lesbian? And when did that change for you? Like you, I tried the heteronormative relationship for years and years and years. And I tried to be like the good little, I'm going to be a wife, I'm going to be a mother, I can do this, I can do this. But there was something inside it. I'm like, it's such a red flag to me and my soul that I have to tell myself I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't like I'm just happy. This is a great relationship. Like she is by like light years the healthiest person I have ever been in a relationship with. So I do, and I love watching your show because I'm like, I do feel really lucky and I do feel really grateful. And you say a lot of things that I'm just like, yes, there is such a small niche part of the population, like you said, that actually get this.
Yeah. Okay, well, you said before people don't normally ask you a lot of questions, which I love because that means like no one's like bothering you, but I'm about to ask you tons of questions, okay?
Bring it on.
I'm so
Bring it on,
excited.
sister. I'm ready.
Okay, so you let's just start like at the beginning. You came out at 30, you're in a conservative family. What was that like? Like what was the reaction from
Oh, starting off stiff.
them?
So, um, because I had involved my family so much in like my relationships, uh, previously, like, oh, I'm with this guy, and I noticed that I was kind of like trying to make sure that my family really liked this guy,
Right.
whoever this guy was, and that he fit in with the family. And when I started dating my partner Kelly, I made a different decision, and this is also like years and years of therapy. I made a different decision to protect the relationship and keep it
Wow,
private.
that's big.
And so that's what I did. And it gave me my own permission. I gave myself permission to love this person without the judgment of like my family asking questions or expectations or anything like that. So I actually didn't tell them until we were engaged. She proposed to me at the top of a mountain in Northeast Georgia. And it was such a special, like, it was surprising to me. Like, I felt like it was going to happen, but I was still really surprised. And so we're like hiking down this mountain, we're engaged, and I'm like, I guess I need to tell my family now. So when I did tell my family, it was really hard. I felt like I should have one-on-one conversations with them. And so I did. I called them each. I have two older sisters, my mom and dad, and I called them each personally. And they were like, oh, kind of like taken back. And then each of them took 3 days to process and called me back and expressed their very serious concern.
Do
And
you feel like they
um,
planned that? Like they all talked like, hey, we're gonna take 3 days, and then you feel like this ostracized human.
yeah, it was really ironic that it was 3 days and like a lot of them said similar things.
I know this. I
And
know. Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm
oh,
sorry.
that's interesting because that's like also what this other person said when they called me earlier today, like the exact same phrase. And so it was like, we're going to pray for you. I don't think this is God's will for you. Um, God, and that was October. And by Christmas, my my brother-in-law called and was like, your partner is not welcome to Christmas. So if you like, you are welcome to come, because they hosted that year, and it was like, you're welcome to come, but your partner is not welcome. And if you do come, don't talk about your relationship in front of like any of our
No.
kids. And the kids are teenagers,
Oh my
um,
gosh.
who I have great relationships with. And I spent a lot of time, a lot of the places that I traveled to were to take care of his kids when he was serving. So in the military. Um, yeah. So I was like, wow, I didn't even know. It was like the fork in the road that I'm like, I have always felt different in my family system,
Yeah.
but now I can walk my path with complete integrity and honesty to my own journey and be 100% okay with owning that I am different and I can make different choices.
Are they keeping you away from your niece and like your the children?
They aren't keeping me away from them. Um, I did go to my oldest niece's high school graduation.
But you're not
And so,
allowed to bring your partner anywhere?
no, as of now, no. It's been a year. We haven't had the discussion again, and we're getting married in February.
Well, those kids are going to go to college, have their mind opened, and then hate their parents. And
Yeah,
you are going to become the coolest savior of an aunt to them because they will be able to go to you for anything. I know it's got to be so painful right now. I
yeah,
literally
yeah,
cannot imagine because I deeply, deeply love my niece and nephew. I cannot imagine what you're going through. I'm so sorry. Like,
yeah.
especially, do you have your own children?
No, I don't.
Same.
And I haven't wanted to have my own kids. Um, I have like been interested in adopting and things like that, but yeah, they're the only kids that I have, and it's been a very complex experience with them. But both of the girls really look up to me and have like a good, like it just broke my heart that as soon as I came out to her parent, the oldest daughter's parents, she like wrote me this message on Instagram, and she was like, I don't know if you're not going to be coming around the family anymore. Like, please don't separate yourself. I really love you and look up to you. And it just made me feel like the message had been given to them that like Auntie M made this bad decision and she's no longer going to be a part of the family or no longer going to be around. And so even though it was so awkward and uncomfortable, I was like, I am going to my niece's graduation, high school
Of
graduation.
course.
And it was uncomfortable, but I went, and I'm so proud of myself for going because I have nothing to be ashamed of.
No,
And just
they
because
have
I'm in this
everything
relationship,
to be ashamed of. And they will
yes.
be one day when their kids stand up to them when the children are actually adults, which is very short. They're on borrowed time. It's 2024 and it is going to be very embarrassing one day.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like enraged for you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. It's that's really just like the tip of the iceberg. But it's made me really, really had to rethink my life and my decisions. And I'm like, I love my
Yeah.
life with my partner, and um, this relationship is worth defending.
Yeah. How is she supporting you through it? I'm sure she knows how much you like loved being a part of your family.
She, I think it's really helpful that she is so much older because she has more experience with being like when I came out, I had this like righteous rising, like I want to be like, fuck everybody who's, like being mean to the gays and the lesbians. And I'm like, I don't care. They can say whatever they want to say to me. Like I'll, like I just had this like rage. And
I
she
understand that too.
and she's sitting there like so calmly and she's like, oh sweetie, welcome.
Same for
Welcome.
my girlfriend. She's like, I'm just gonna sit here and let you have your hissy fit till you realize that like it won't actually get you anywhere. But then there's like this weird line of like, but we can't just like pretend to just be like this like accepted in straight world and say what we need to say, because I know how to do that as a feminine woman. I'm sure you
Yes.
do too, right?
Yes.
You can get men to respect you. You can get any, like last night I'm like at a little like pizza bar and I'm hearing like straight up like slurs at me when someone realizes that I'm gay. But instead of being like ugly back, and I could tell the person next to her was like, oh, that's not politically correct, like stop, like trying to get her friend to stop, these little ladies. When she finally realized like I was a lesbian because she thought I was a matchmaker, she was like, let me have your site. And I'm like, oh sure, but it's for gay women. And what she didn't hear me. At the end of the conversation, she asked again before she left and asked for the site again. And I tell her, and she like flew off the handle and was like, oh honey, what a waste, you're so beautiful, whatever. And so I said, no, 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 not what a waste. God made me this way and I love how I am and I'm helping so many women. And then she like, it was so weird. It's like like her countenance changed and
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
you're so right. As long as you're happy, because this whole time that we were talking, I thought you were talking about your husband. And I was like, no, and she's like, but if you love her that much, then I'm so happy for you. You do you. And then she left and gave me a hug. And it's so interesting. There's two different ways to handle it. It could have been like a all-out war right there, and
Yeah.
rightfully so. Or it could have been me shrinking down.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, there was this hybrid sovereign response of, let me correct you right here, right now, but with love.
Yes. Yes.
And I
And
learned that.
that's so powerful in like you setting the boundary and saying,
Yes.
and speaking up.
Yes.
Like we don't have to make ourselves small, but that's my reaction most of the time is to make myself small and go inward. And I am an introvert and I am the youngest in my
Mm,
family by a long shot. So that's like my default mode
yeah.
is to get quiet and go inward. But when I actually stand up for myself and not, like you said, not in a mean way, but in a respectful way that gets my point across.
Yeah.
So I love that you did that and just like we're so unashamed and you're like, yep, this is what I'm really talking about, and you're welcome to join the conversation. But just so you know, I'm going to set the expectation right now.
Yeah. Like, I'll correct you. You're not going to say that I'm a waster. God made me wrong. And like say it with so much love. And like this person I know is going to operate in the world differently. They're going to react to a queer person differently because I didn't come out with a pitchfork and I corrected them using their same spiritual language. Like, honey, we can play this. We can, and like God loves me just as much as God loves you. Like it's just, I think this is not only from time being gay, but it also comes from watching our older partners handle this.
Yes.
Because I feel like they will just be like, I'll just sit and watch all of you make a
Yes.
fool of yourself, then I'll say what I need to say.
Yes. And I was like, "Oh, is that how it's done?" Like the first year we were together, I was like really like, had that expression of just like, "Oh, they can't say that, they can't do that, whatever." And she what did she say? she said something really profound, and it was like, we're never going to get them to listen to us by responding with anger and
Right.
being rude back. Never. Like the only thing, like the best thing that we can do is to respond with love. We respond with love. And I'm like, but did you hear what they said?
Yes.
She's like, yes, yes, honey. I've been around for a while. Yes, I know what they say.
Yes, that's I like it's like hearing a story about my girlfriend talking to me. It's like I am an old lesbian. Like we've been around the block and this is how it works. And it's so interesting because I think as someone who is raised with faith, which I want to get
Yeah,
into for you,
yeah.
I'm able to like tap into, the teachings of Jesus and the teachings of Buddha and the teachings of A Course in
Mm,
Miracles and constantly go back to unity and forgiveness. But when someone is attacking your identity, it
mm,
hurts so hard and it's so easy to fly off the handle. It is so
mm.
easy to, and you like have a righteous anger.
Yeah.
And we have to realize that that isn't going to get anyone to listen to us. So it's something that we can learn from our older partners.
Yes, we can.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so like right now, you talk to your siblings, but like they like for Christmas, are you and your partner like just planning on your own Christmas?
Yes, that's what we did last year. And um, I'm learning how to navigate changing. I don't want to say that I'm like not going to be a part of my family anymore, because I will always be a part of my family and I do love my family.
Yeah.
Um, but I think there is a healthy amount of separation where it's like, okay, it's causing me so much stress and anxiety to be attending group, like family things right now, especially I moved down to Florida after an extremely traumatic event in my family where my brother passed away at 31 years old by
I'm
suicide.
so sorry.
So um, he was my whole world, and totally got me. And we were siblings that were just like, we didn't have to say a thing and we knew what the other person
Wow.
was feeling. And with my two older sisters being so significantly older than me, it's just really like figuring out how to restructure what is the future of family going to look like for me. It might be developing more of my closer friendships. And I have some extended family members that I'm really close
Yeah.
to as well. Um, but figuring out what's going to be healthiest for me as I grow in this relationship with my partner is something that I don't have resolved. And I think it's a forever shifting
Yeah.
around, because there was like a while where my brother and I would be like, hey, are you going to go to Christmas? Are you going to go to Thanksgiving? And if you're not there, I'm not going to be there. Like,
Mm.
we were each other's allies. And um and not because we don't like our family, it was just like him and I were just different. and,
Yeah.
and it was like everybody else has the same ideas and the same beliefs, and TJ, my brother's name is TJ, him and I were much more open-minded, and we just didn't feel like there was a lot of space to contribute to conversation. And so now that it's me, I've really dove into spiritual work and looking into like my brother's spirit is still with me and listening to what my brother's spirit is telling me, and um, going into these situations. I'm like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. Even though I feel alone, bringing his spirit with me, not only in family situations, but just like
Yeah.
daily.
Did you get to tell TJ you were gay, or has that been something like you've been communicating with his
Mm-mm.
spirit?
Yeah, it's no, I didn't get to tell him in person, but his spirit knows. And I think like if he were sitting next to me, he would be like, "Well, yeah, duh."
Yeah.
Like
I have goosebumps. He's like, definitely like, yeah, duh.
You would be like, well, yeah. And I did take over so he started a clothing company for men's mental health, with a good friend of his in Minneapolis. And his friend asked me to take over my brother's portion after TJ passed.
Oh,
And he kind of like, him and I grew, got really close quickly. And when I told him about me being a lesbian, he was like, duh. Like, he had the response that I thought TJ would have. So I'm like, okay, that's a double confirmation.
I love it. I love it. You're just like, you have the gay energy or you don't have the gay energy. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't even know that about myself. I'm just like, do I have those vibes? And like, people are like, yeah, for sure. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, awesome.
The gay
I'm
vibes.
glad.
The gay vibes. Okay, really quick before we get into stuff about your girlfriend, because I want to know so much more about that. Like, as far as spirituality goes, have you deconstructed completely, or are you like reconstructing? Like, what does that look like?
I'm sorry, as far as what?
Spirituality goes, like, have
Oh,
you
gotcha, spirituality.
deconstructed completely, or are you reconstructing? What does that look like?
I started deconstructing in 2016. Being raised Christian, I remember hearing that people that were Buddhist were actually worshiping the devil. And I met a guy who I worked with who was Buddhist and like follow these principles very, very closely. And we became good friends and we went on some expeditions together and I got to know his spiritual practices, and he displayed the likeness of Jesus more than most Christians I had ever met in my life.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, there's something going on here. And so then I just started like opening up, what are these other religions saying? What are the other experiences? And then I went into yoga teacher training and got certified in 2017. And so I would call myself a spiritual person.
Yeah.
I don't, something that was really hard for me growing up in a Christian church was, I don't think it's okay to ever say that somebody else's religion or their relationship is wrong. It just never felt okay to me. And so, and I, was very, very into my faith in college. And I remember meeting a Muslim man and he was like, your faith is so inspiring to me. It makes me want to return to my faith. And I remember thinking, like, we're taught that all these other religions are like awful.
Yeah.
Like, but I've been privileged enough to be able to travel to these countries and be able to spend time in other cultures with other religions. And I'm like, where there really is a sameness, there really is a oneness. And if you can tap into that energetically, I really don't think it matters which religion or faith you're following, as long as you're seeking God.
I agree 100%. That's the premise of everything I believe in, just like unity, and we all want the same thing. Like we all do. All good-hearted people want the same thing, which is peace. And what I want for me and the safety and peace that I want for my life, the people I love, my partner, my niece and nephew, I want that for everyone else's children in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is how I would define all the things. I love what you said, just like just spiritual. I'm spiritual because all of the religions point back to the same thing. So I love to hear it. So good.
Yeah, it is. It's freeing. And I feel, I've learned a lot of spirituality from my partner too. She is 8 years sober.
Wow.
And yeah, and that is just like phenomenal. I mean, I attended, do you know Liz Gilbert, the author of Eat, Pray,
Yeah.
Love? So her, my partner Kelly and I attended Big Magic Retreat in Northeast Georgia a couple months ago. And I said I felt like just this infant in spirituality around these, wise women who have so much experience, and like the depths that she has gone through with her spirit. I just look at her and I'm like, wow, I have so much to learn. And yes, a lot of it is time and experience, but it's just they have this like glow
Yeah.
and this energy about them that is so attractive, and it's because of the work that they've put into themselves.
Yeah. Are you saying you got to see Liz Gilbert live at this retreat? Oh
Yes.
my gosh, like so jealous. How amazing.
Yes. And I don't know if you're familiar. Are you familiar with her and her late partner
Yes,
Rhea?
yes, yeah. She had a lesbian relationship for a few years and she took care of her, right? Like
Yes.
you can do the summary real quick for anyone who's listening who doesn't know.
Okay, so her Liz Gilbert's partner Rhea, um really, so my part, okay, we have these like similarities. Rhea is just this like hardball heroin addict. She does hair. She's just like this really, the wind is kicking up as I'm talking about her spirit. She's like, yeah, that's Rhea. And Liz is just like very conservative in herself, and Midwestern, and very humble and quiet. And she just wants to be a writer, and very peaceful. Those are the energies of me and my partner.
Mm.
And as well. And so I published my memoir, and um, so Kelly and I are at this retreat together, and Liz was walking by, and I'm like, Liz is right there. Like Liz, like literally, Liz is right there. She's walking by, and I'm not going to speak up and say
I'm
anything because I'm
nervous
just
right now.
like
Like I have
quiet.
butterflies
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. I can't do it. And my partner like steps forward, and she goes, hey, she goes, Liz, you've got to know something. And I was like, oh, she's talking to Liz. Oh my gosh. And Liz stops, in all her glowing wisdom. She paused and gave us, her full attention. And my partner said, we are Liz and Rhea 2.0.
Oh my gosh.
I just started, and she goes, oh, she goes, let me guess who is who.
Did she get it right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. My partner is she is much shorter than me. Um, she's got like full sleeve art tatted, like half of her head's shaved. Like she's definitely rocking a very different vibe from me. So it was just sweet that she reached out to Liz and made that statement, and Liz was just like full attention, and I got to give her my memoir.
Oh my gosh, you did?
Yes.
Wow. Oh, that just so growing up, Eat Pray Love was one of my favorite books ever. And I feel like gay just knows gay. Like we're just attracted to things even if they're not in the moment gay, but like the truth is like time is like all this big jumbo. So like I guess in my soul I knew I was gay. I knew Liz Gilbert was gay. Like you just have this
Yes.
connection to the book. And it was like I'm not a big novel reader. Like I probably haven't read fiction since I was in high school with that book. I just don't make time for that. I read personal development, business, whatever. That book was highlighted, bookmarked. Like I had read it so many times and it meant so much to me, which is so weird because I grew up in a family that was like, other religions, no, travel, no, stay here. And I loved it. And this summer I got to go on my own little eat, pray, love adventure through Europe. And then that's when I fell in love with my partner who was just my friend at the time. And I don't know, it's just kind of all crazy how it all works out. Like these things that we love, these people we look up to, they're they're like their souls are somehow weaved into ours and we're meant to interact with them. Probably the way that we've interacted on social media. Like just all these connections. And isn't that amazing that you got to meet her in real life? Anyway, that's my fangirl moment.
It has been years. I got stuck at circling New York City because of weather one time. I was trying to attend a conference of hers a couple years ago, and the plane was like, we can't land. We can't
Oh my
land
God.
yet. And I'm like, this plane needs to land because I am going to miss Liz Gilbert speaking. And I did. So it was like my third time, yeah, attempting to see her.
Isn't it funny though that if like you could have heard God, source, universe's voice in that moment, be like, but it's okay because you're gonna get to hand her your book,
Yes, I
right?
know. Yeah, yes, and like with my partner, like with Kelly standing there and um speaking up for me when I couldn't. I was just like starstruck. I don't get starstruck. I like typically, and I'm like I just couldn't say anything.
Oh, this like makes me so happy. It's so weird. Everything works out for us in the weirdest way, and like to know that you got to have that moment after having that disappointment. If anyone's listening right now and they're going through a disappointment, like I know it's hard to imagine like a different outcome that could be better than what you can imagine, but I think that is the challenge if you're listening and like something has disappointed you lately, or you're like, this was my chance, or I invested so much to be here at this thing or do this thing. There is always going to be like this time, and we don't know when it will be, but where we are like payback and triple, quadruple having like
Yes.
blessings, good things coming in. So it's just a reminder of that. I love those little winks from God. Okay, your relationship, you're about to get married. How are you
Yes.
planning a wedding with a family that is behaving like such idiots?
How well? Um, another situation, just what you said exactly is what happened here.
Let's
So
hear it.
we planned our wedding. We were going to get married here on the beach. We live literally 2 blocks from the beach, which is a dream. And we met diving. She was my dive master,
Oh,
actually.
we
Yeah.
love a good teacher, man.
Yeah.
Teacher's
Seriously.
pet, lesbian, like,
I was like, you can tell me to go anywhere you want me to. I will go.
I'm going
As
on a,
long as I'm next to you, I feel safe.
I love it.
Um, yeah, so we found 2 venues and neither of us have been married before. So that's kind of beautiful, but also it's like, okay, we're both going down this aisle we've never walked before.
Yeah.
Um, and we booked of the venue. We found the venue and we both just like got really overwhelmed and it was so stressful with like, what do we say with family? Who do we invite? Who do we not invite? And it started causing issues in our relationship. And we were arguing more than we do. And it was just like, okay, we need to take a step back. I still want to be with you. I think that we just need to postpone this because it's too overwhelming.
Yeah, because that family stuff really does breed so much tension.
Yes. So we postponed, and that was hard. And then I saw this post. Have you heard of Equally Wed?
Mm-mm, I haven't.
It's a magazine. It's like the number one LGBTQ magazine in the US. It's based in Key West.
Oh,
And they were running this wedding giveaway. And it was like 2 nights. The ceremony included travel to Key West, the cake. Like they will plan your wedding. And I'm like, this is a 1 in a million chance, but why not? So I wrote a letter to them about our
oh, but
story
you're a
and
good
sent some pictures.
writer.
And sent some, oh, the first thing they did was a video. And I tried to do a video and I'm like, I'm terrible at this. So I didn't even send it in. And then they extended the deadline and said, okay, you can write a story. And I'm like, oh yeah, honey, I got it. I'll write a story. Don't you worry.
Oh,
So I didn't even tell her I did it. And I wrote in, and then it was like 2 or 3 weeks later, we won it.
that's so exciting.
So now we picked our date as February 25th,
Yes.
2025. And we're going to Key West. Thank
Congratulations.
you. It's a very, very small. It's going to be 10 people
Okay.
max. And then we're going to do a reception back here in Panama City Beach.
And are you inviting any of your family to that small actual wedding in Key West?
The only person invited so far is my
I
mom.
love that for you and can feel the same way.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
it is just my mom. It's been months and months, years now of like, what do I do? I don't want to be rude. I don't, but I'm like, it's my relationship. It's my wedding. I get to do what I want to do. And if it makes no sense for me to try to extend an olive branch to somebody who told me my partner's not welcome in their home.
100%. That's actually insane. But even if they are nice to your partner, if they do not believe that you are getting married in the eyes of the universe, divine God, and that their partnership is superior to yours, you do not
Yes.
have a place at my wedding or any wedding celebrations because
No.
you're actually putting some negative energy on this very special sacred day that you're
Yeah.
devoting yourself to somebody. Like, why would you want someone there casting their like negative thoughts? Like, well, that's just like not of God anyway, so it can't last. Like, why would you want that there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're both very, very big about ceremony and um, energy.
Yes. Same for me and my
And
partner.
so we are like, the energy at our ceremony is going to be very clear, very clean. This is what we want. It's going to be all about love. And we get to surround ourselves with people who do love us and support us because we do have a lot of people,
Yeah.
outside of family.
I love that. What about her family? Are they around? I know she's significantly older.
Yeah. So unfortunately, both of her parents have passed. And she does have two brothers. I think one of her brothers she's wanting to invite. And I have not met him yet.
Okay.
But yeah. So family's a tough one for us. We're kind of having to create our support system outside of family and, graph in new people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Family is so, 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 so important to me and my partner, but it does sound like there's certain people who will never truly support, no matter what you do.
Right.
And there's a lot of times in life that the olive branch can be extended because you prefer peace, right? Over anything else. But this is your special day. So I'm so glad that you're setting those boundaries and that's going to be like the energy is going to be like in this container that no one can touch. Like it is your day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Well,
Thank you.
congratulations on that. And what about your writing now? Like I know it obviously got you this wedding, but is what are you
Hmm.
doing now? Like what does that look like?
I am so pretty big turn of events. I am in my master's degree right now for social work.
Okay.
Um, yes, through a lot of my experiences in writing my memoir and the travel and um, I realized that most of my work was related to advocacy and social
Yeah.
justice. And so I'm like, I need to understand more how the system works and how marginalized people groups continue to be at a disadvantage.
Mhm.
And what can I do? How can I be more educated about this issue that has lasted since the start of America?
Yeah.
So, um, and like, I don't want to get into a whole political conversation, but with Trump, coming into the presidency, our rights are in question. There's
Yeah.
there's no other way to go about it. It is the truth. So, um, my writing right now, I'm working on a my first fiction piece,
Okay.
which is based off of wilderness therapy, um, and a young girl who I was a instructor in wilderness therapy for 2 years, and so it's based off of a young girl who had a D1 scholarship to play basketball, and her mom did not like some of her choices. One of them being in a relationship with a black man, and sent her away to wilderness therapy for 90 days, which really put her D1 status in jeopardy. And it's a story about family, as we're talking about family. It's a story about control, and sometimes when we want to improve an aspect of our lives, especially like as I'm looking to the decisions that some mothers make, like wanting to make their lives better for their children, it can actually be really controlling and do more harm than good.
Yeah.
And that was the experience I had with this young girl. She is a real person, but I basically used my experience with her in a spin-off to make a fictional character.
Wow. That is like I can, as a storyteller, because I was a social media strategist before I had a lesbian dating platform, I'm just hearing this and like I wasn't able to even formulate my next question as an interviewer because you took me to this space talking about her where it was just like so real and I'm visualizing the struggle she's going through and all the that could potentially happen to her career. Would she even be able to get into college because this is all being interrupted by this can't like oh my gosh like I went there in my head. So
Mm-hmm.
good. You're got a good story on your hands. Good storyteller.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not often does that happen to me, and I'm just like floating right now. I'm like, oh, I'm interviewing shit.
I'm so that makes me so happy. That's such a big compliment. Thank you.
No, it
It's
really
been
is.
like 4 years I've been working on this story, and I started it before my memoir, and I published my memoir, and my main character has just stuck with me, and writing her story is like so important to me.
What's her name?
Zoe.
Zoe. Life. I love it. Ah,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for spending this time with me. It was so good to just feel seen, honestly, even though I'm the interviewer, because a lot of your story is like so parallel to mine. And people always say, like, when they hear my content, they're like, thank you for making me feel seen. And so I know your story is going to touch so many because I
Yeah.
think sometimes it can't help. Like, it's not like it's going to be like, oh, yeah, I can like change or like make your family accept you. But just to know, like, hey, she's feeling this too. Like, I don't have to feel alone on Christmas knowing I'm alone, but knowing like I'm not alone being alone.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
huge. And that shift has really, I've struggled with depression for over a decade.
Mm,
And like the holidays is extremely hard time, especially with the loss of my brother. And I just like anyone out there, if you're having to spend this holiday alone, any of the holidays coming up, like you are not alone.
yeah.
And there's people out there who are have experienced loss, and they're going through the holidays the first time. Like my partner's not here. This family member doesn't accept me. I just think that's another big reason of why I wanted to pursue social work, because I think talking about things really takes the power out of the isolation of something that's painful,
Yeah.
because life is painful, but being isolated and having the experience of something and feeling like you're the only one going through it makes it so much more significantly worse.
It feels like adult timeout for existing, like literally for existing, you're put into adult timeout. And it's especially
Yes.
painful and triggering when it comes from family because it's like, yeah, adult timeout. Like, why? Just for existing.
Yeah.
It's pretty deep, pretty dark. Let's end it on a positive note. What is your favorite thing about your partner?
I love that question. Um,
You can
my
give me a
favorite
couple if
thing,
you can't narrow it down.
my favorite thing about my partner, hmm, I have lots of favorite things, but probably one of them is that she continues to roll with adversity
Mhm.
and has this like her spiritual practices are so dialed in, and she takes such good self like care of herself, that I'm watching this person go through very challenging things in life, This year she broke her fibula, and she's a chef, and she lost her job.
Oh my gosh.
And we were going through our stuff and family stuff, and watching her really dial into her spirituality. And it's like, I need to, this is first, my peace is first.
Mm.
And that is such an attractive quality to me. Like somebody who takes care of themselves,
Yeah.
and that's the only way that you can show up powerfully as yourself in a relationship, is if you're taking care of yourself.
Mm. That's so good. Yeah, it's like this personal responsibility, and it preserves the relationship like nothing else can. So good.
Yeah.
So good. Makes me think like, I think yes, younger people are capable of this, but I think that is something that like is just extra hot in an older woman. I will say that people are like, oh, older, wiser. No, there's so many older women out there who are just like reenacting all their pain, and there's a reason why they're single and older, right? Like they're
Mm-hmm.
not doing the work. And so I think you're so lucky, Emily May, that you've met a partner who is doing the work. Because I personally know the fruit of being with someone who chooses to be so sovereign and calm when I'm having like a moment. And she knows how to take care of herself first. Or even like this morning, like I'm like, hey, I miss you. I only have a few minutes before I start working. She's like, hey, I would love to talk to you, but I have to finish or I have to start my morning meditation before I can call. And I'm just like, I love that. Like, I love,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. It is very attractive. And I think it could be viewed like, oh, I don't want this person to be offended that I'm going to do my morning meditation before reaching out to them. But it's like, that is such a true sign of the health of your relationship. By
yeah,
her knowing that you're not going to be offended by that, and you're like, okay, this is actually going to be something positive for both of us.
yeah. No, and it sounds like something your partner has dialed in too. Like no matter what adversity is going on, no matter what waves are crashing, literally, especially you guys in Florida, um, no matter what's going on, like I choose my peace. And that is powerful. So I'm so glad that you're with someone who's healthy. For anyone who is listening and a friend of Emily May, if I didn't get to share before, my name's Sophia, and I came out late in life as well. I am a baby gay, and I started a lesbian dating platform because as soon as I seriously started dating women and came very clear to my truth and who I am, it became apparent to me that it was really challenging to find a monogamous lifetime partner on queer dating apps. And so what I did is I started a hybrid platform called the Queer Country Club that is very much a community-based platform with AI matching, um, lots of ways to get to know each other based on values. And you're able to tell our AI matchmaker the values, lifestyle preferences, and physical preferences you have in a partner. And then beyond that, we have live virtual meetups, and not just anyone can join. It's application based. You have to be seeking your life partner, and you have to be very committed to monogamy. As much as we love our polyamorous friends, I have a ton of them. It just was something that our community needed, the most efficient way to find
Mhm.
that sovereign partnership. So if you're interested in that, go ahead, shoot me a DM that says dating. I would love to help you out and get you an application. And for you, Emily May, if anyone's listening and they're like, I want to be along for the journey for your writing and cheer you on, perhaps buy one of your pieces of work, where will they go to follow you?
You can follow my Instagram. It's Emilee May _ writer, Emilee. My name's a little bit different, MAE _ writer. And all my links are on there. My book is on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere you can find a book online. So
Amazing.
it's pretty, yeah, that's the easiest way to
What's
follow me.
the name of the memoir that's out now?
It is called Start Here: The Raw and Honest Journey of a Nomad in Her 20s.
Ooh, okay. I love it. And do you come out in that book?
No.
Wow. So
I
it's
am
before.
working on my second one though, and that one I do. I'm working on my second memoir, and I'm like three-fourths of the way through. So that one's coming.
Okay. Oh my gosh, you were a busy girl. You're writing the novel, the second memoir. You're in school. Oh,
Yes.
I love a passionate human. I love it. I love it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sophia, for this time and sharing your truth. It has really helped me own mine. And I feel like there are so many times where I'll like watch a video of yours or something and I'll be like, Kelly, she gets it. Listen to this. Listen to what she just said. She gets it. And she's like, okay. She was like, I'm glad you found your tribe. Yeah.
It's so
So thank you.
sweet. How long have you been following along?
Um, I've been following for about a year.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I started listening to your podcast and I loved the story with your partner and like connecting over email. It was like about social media and
Yeah.
and you like neither of you had seen each other and you just like basically just connected for who you were as people and then you're like, oh, you're attractive, you're an attractive lesbian, oh okay. Like that story, I just loved it, and I actually sent it to a good friend of mine, Amanda. She might be watching, I don't know.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda. She followed you after that. She is also, I don't think she's into older women, but she's a lesbian as well. So I was like, hey, follow this girl.
Aw. Thank you. Yeah, if you guys love this episode, share it with friends. We want to be the gay agenda, spread all the gay love everywhere. So
Yes.
get it out there. Thank you so much for following along. It's an honor to know that I resonate with you. And one thing, like, because I mean, I have the dating platform, but first and foremost, I am a social media strategist. And what I tell people often is people want to just be a fly on the wall. Like, they don't want to see a super curated podcast. They want to see real people. They want to see us having a real conversation. None of this is rehearsed. They want to see, well, your introduction part I had to have written in front of me. You know, other than that,
Yeah. Yeah.
but people want to see real things. And so if you've got a story to share now more than ever, it's so important that you do show up. You do not let anything that is happening in this really rough climate we have, especially in America right now. Like, it's so important that you show up and you don't dim your light. Let
Yep.
nothing dim your light and keep telling your story. Thank you, Emilee May. I
Thank you
cannot
so
wait
much,
to talk to you again.
Sophia. It's wonderful to meet you.
Wonderful to meet you. Have a great day.
Bye.
As queer women, that's women with an X, because of course we are inclusive here. As I was saying, as queer women, we haven't always been lifted up or celebrated. We have often felt left out and put down in places that historically haven't welcomed us. In fact, we have been conditioned by society to be grateful for mere tolerance. My resilient LGBTQ+ IA community, I am talking to you. I'll bet you've recognized the spark that God put in your heart. Your unique calling to impact the world in only a way that you can. A business idea, a brand to build, a coaching program to start, the art to create, the song to sing, the book to write, that relationship you long to build. But that little light inside your soul has often been blown out by the people around you, leaving you conditioned to play small and not step into your full potential. You are not alone, and it's never too late to truly live your most authentic dream life. I would know. I came out late in life, nearly 30, a couple years ago, after being bullied for months inside a country club. Right outside of my weights class, I was assaulted by a bigoted woman who couldn't stand my queerness. She physically pushed me, so I had a meeting with management. I told them I didn't feel safe. I brought forth evidence, and guess what? They did nothing. Sadly, this is normal. But in order to create change, we have to be brave enough to be the change ourselves. So I did a thing. I started my own virtual country club for queer women, a safe place for us to create meaningful connections and grow. So if you're looking for a love connection, networking opportunities, or coaching to live your best freedom life, you want to apply to be a part of our incredible community of purpose-driven, passionate queer women. Join Queer Women Rising, the online queer country club for growth-minded women ready to level up in life and love. To apply, DM me the word rising on Instagram at SophiaSpallino or chat me the word rising on SophiaSpallino.com. Now, beyond hosting Queer Women Rising, I am a personal brand coach and social media strategist. If you give me a moment to tell you about what I do, I can share how I can help you, just like I've helped many clients before get famous online and make more money. If you're an exhausted coach or service provider, ready to scale your business for real, or you're just getting started building your dream brand from scratch, and if you're ready to build your own profitable personal brand, I can show you how in 6 months or less. But why should you take my word for it? Well, I've spent over 10 years in the social media marketing industry, amassing over 400,000 followers across platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as hosting a top charting podcast, building a successful service provider business, and coaching powerful women to build purpose-driven, profitable personal brands. Yeah, I have the social media and sales process strategies that can help you finally make the money you deserve. Because I want to help you build your dream business that gives you time, freedom, and makes real money. So for a limited time, I'm giving away your first steps to go from less than 5K months and advance to 10 to 20K months. Grab my newly revamped Profitable Personal Brand Blueprint, my proven framework to build yourself a personal brand that motivates, inspires, and sells so that your business can thrive the way it should. Just go to the link in the show notes. Whether you're a novice at creating or you're feeling stuck, hitting a plateau in your business that once had consistent revenue, and need guidance, support, and coaching to get to your next level, I invite you to book a strategy call to speak with either me or my team to see if we'd be the right fit to work with each other inside of the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. Mind you, I am extremely selective, and this coaching program is not for everyone, and I'm not afraid to say it. I am only taking on serious, purpose-driven, and committed queer women and allies inside of my community. If that's you, book your free strategy call. The link is in the show notes. And if you feel yourself come alive and love listening to Queer Women Rising, please leave me a 5-star rating with a kind review wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to share the show with a powerful woman you know. And remember, when you're called to do something greater in life, love, or business, you will be uncomfortable until you move. So get up and go get what you want. Let's rise.